Welcome to God's Hand in the Headlines, the every so often analysis of current events from a biblical point of view. There was an AP article published a couple days ago, January 12th, picked up by ABC News and others, with the headline, "The California wildfires could be leaving deeper inequality in their wake," written by Terry Tang. The point of the article was mainly to state the obvious. This disaster hurts poor people more than it hurts rich people. I don't know why the word "could" is even in the headline. Could be leaving deeper inequality. Of course, there's deeper inequality after a disaster. Rich people have more options. They have the resources to recover from this. Poor people don't have anything left. Obviously, poor people are hurt more. Poor people are hurt more by a lot of things. So what's the solution, though? Well, the article offered no solution, typically. No solution whatsoever, just groused about the issue. In fact, if you read the article, and I read the whole thing, you find that it's not really even about financial inequality. It's mainly about skin color. It's all about skin color. She goes on and on about how various ethnic groups are experiencing hardship. These black people and these ethnic people, this, and that. And not one single word about how poor white people are affected. Who cares about the poor white people? I find this just absolutely mind-boggling, this kind of racism. If you lost your house, you lost everything, and you have nowhere to go now because you're poor, what does it matter what your skin color is? How does that matter one bit? But for Terry Tang and the AP and ABC News and all the rest of the left-wing media, their skin color is everything. That's the only thing that matters. And as I read the article, and I tried to figure out, why is this person writing this article? If they don't have any solution to offer, just writing it, what's the point? What are they trying to achieve? And what I found is, there's only two purposes that I could see as possibilities for why this article is written and why other agencies are picking it up. Number one, to stir up racial strife. They always want to stir up as much racial strife as they can. And number two, to stir up class envy, which that's the thing I wanted to talk about today, class envy. If you look at the comments on social media about the LA fires, you don't have to look very long before you start to see all kinds of really angry comments directed at the rich people who lost their homes but have another home or have the resources to be okay. All this anger. Why the anger? Why so much anger? Answer: pure evil. Pure evil. Envy, I believe, is one of the darkest, most depraved, most disgusting sins that there is. It's just so evil. Other sins like selfishness or greed, you could understand that. You can understand those kinds of sins. I want more for me. That's evil, but it's natural. It's not the path to a happy life, but it's understandable. But envy, being miserable just because something positive happened to another human being, how depraved is that? Regardless of what happens to me, I'm in the same situation, regardless of whatever happens to them, and yet I'm upset because something good happened to them. How evil is that? How evil is that? If it doesn't change my situation, it's just pure malice. Just malice. If you're a Christian and you see any trace of this sin in your heart, any time when you see someone won the lottery or something good happened to somebody and it hurts you, you feel negative emotions instead of happiness for them, that emergency measures need to be taken to address that sin in your heart, because that is the opposite of godliness. It's the opposite of love. The godly attitude is to rejoice with those who rejoice. That's Romans 12:15. Rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. If your house burns down and you have if somebody else's, their house burns down and they've got another house to go to, good for them. Good for them. If they've got some resources to handle this, good for them. I'm glad they have that benefit. Praise God for that. People act like those who are rich, if someone is rich over there, their being rich somehow hurts me or hurts poor people. And that's the opposite of what's true. If you just understand basic economics, the more wealth there is in a culture, the better off everyone in that culture is. especially in a free market kind of a culture, it benefits everybody. It doesn't hurt us that they're rich. It helps us. Your life will be full of so much joy if you can manage to learn how to rejoice with those who rejoice. Because there's always someone rejoicing. There's always somebody receiving some big blessing, some big benefit. Always. And so if you can learn to be happy for them about that, out of love, then you can always be happy. But if you have envy in your heart, you will always be miserable, because there's always somebody getting more than what you got. Another thing that's distressing about this is the inconsistency. Apart from just the sheer evil of it, there's also the hypocrisy and the inconsistency and the double standard. People are angry. A lot of people are angry because some of these rich people had the resources to hire private firefighters and protected their homes. So all the other homes around them burned, but theirs survived. And by the way, one thing that tells us is that this was possible to fight this if they're prepared enough, if you put enough resources into it. They could have done what those rich people did. They could have done that for everybody if the government officials hadn't been so incredibly inept. I mean, it's the most predictable of all disasters imaginable. Everyone knew this was going to happen. But anyway, that's another podcast. The point here is getting angry at the people who had the resources to take care of their own home. Why does that make them angry? What do these people expect the rich people to do? Just let their house burn because other people's houses burn? They've got the resources to protect their house and think, no, I'm not going to use that. I'll just let it burn because someone else's house burned. These people that are so angry, are you going to tell me that if they could have saved their house, they wouldn't have? They would have let it burn just because other people's houses burned? I don't think so. And what about the middle-class people who escaped the flames in their cars? They didn't have the resources to save their house. They don't have the resources to have another house, but they have a car. And so they got in their car and drove away and escaped with their lives. What about those people? Should they have said, well, there's really poor people that don't even have a car. It's not fair that I have a car, so I'm not going to drive it. What about people who ran for their life to escape? Should those people have said, there's paraplegics and quadriplegics out there who can't even walk, and so it's not fair that I have healthy legs, so I'm not going to run for my life. I'll just sit here and burn to death. No, of course not. These people are such hypocrites. Everybody used whatever resources they had to save what they could save. And that's not evil, that's just wisdom. So, what is the solution to inequality? Well, there is no solution because it's not a problem. Inequality is not a problem. Income inequality is not a problem. It's not a bad thing. There are no two people on this planet who are equal. No two people who are equal. Equality is a ridiculous idea. We're all different. We all have different advantages and disadvantages. Some have more money, some have less, some have more wisdom, some have better parents, better upbringing, some have healthier bodies, some are better looking, some have advantages of youth, some have advantages of older age and maturity, some have great family networks, some have great friends, some have healthy emotions and they're not as prone to depression and other people don't. We're all different. We all have advantages. How are you going to make people equal in all of those areas? People don't even propose doing that. All they care about is the money area. But even that, it's not even possible to have equality of wealth. The only way you could even approximate that is by making everybody poor, which is typically what these equality programs tend to do. They make everybody poorer. And there are some cultures that have succeeded in almost completely in doing that. The people at the top, of course, are rich, but almost everyone is in destitute poverty. But even then, even if you make everybody poor, still, you take all the money away from these rich people and everybody's poor, still, even then, of course, the culture is going to be a nightmare then, because nobody's going to be able to build any infrastructure or any of that. But suppose you did that. Everybody's poor and everyone has the same amount of money. Even then, some of those people are going to wake up early every day and work hard and be diligent and make some good decisions. And some people in that culture are going to just be lazy and goof off and make terrible decisions. And in a matter of time, that first person is going to tend to be a lot better off than the second person. There's no way to have equality. And same thing with rich. You could give everybody, if you could give everybody in the world $1 million right now, a month from now, some people would be broke. That's just reality. There's no possibility of financial equality. Equality is a ridiculous idea. And even if there were, even if you could have total equality, it's folly to reduce life down to just money, as if that's the only thing that matters. Rich people are more prone to suicide than poor people. Think about that for a second. Being rich isn't the solution to everything. There really are more rich people that commit suicide, but to commit suicide, you have to be in an awfully dark place. Money is extremely helpful, no question about that. Book of Ecclesiastes, Book of Proverbs affirms that. That's true. And we should make wise decisions with money, but there's so much more to life than money. So, what is the solution? Let me offer four things. Number one, don't fall for the race baiting of people like Terry Tang and organizations like the AP and ABC News and the rest. Skin color is about the most superficial way to judge a person imaginable. Just don't fall for this racism. Number two, if you are prone to envy at all, repent of that sin and strive to love people. Strive to love them and to care about their well-being. Learn how to rejoice with those who rejoice so that you can be happy anytime you want. Number three, if you're struggling financially, look to God for provision. Don't worry about the rich people. Don't worry about what other people have. It's between you and God. Look to God for provision. Work hard, make wise decisions, and then ask God to provide whatever you need to do His will. Seek His kingdom first above everything. And if you do that, He promises He will provide you with all the earthly resources that you need to do His will. And then number four, when God does bless you, share with others. Rather than fretting about whether wealthier people are sharing with you, you just share with others because it's more blessed to give than to receive.